our panel discussion, AI in Action, Real-World Solutions for Cybersecurity and Fraud Prevention, featuring an exciting lineup of experts ready to share their opinions on AI and cybersecurity. And our moderator will be Marko. So you can start.
Okay, this is working. So thank you everyone for coming. My name is Marko Elazar. I am the CEO of a company called Nova Defense, and we are providing managed cybersecurity services to customers worldwide, and I'll be the host for this very interesting panel. So without further ado, I'd like to start. This is something I wanted to say for a long, long time, and it starts like this: space, the final frontier. When we're talking about a space, there is a layer of the atmosphere which is called the ionosphere, and it's responsible for refracting and reflecting electromagnetic waves, which are used for telecommunications around the globe and the telecommunications with the satellites. And in year 1995, our colleague sitting in the middle, Zarko Kecic, was working on his probably first neural network, which was supposed to automate reading of ionospheric data. Zarko, after his PhD, he worked for a short while in the US, and then he came back to Serbia, and he was a strategic advisor for the Ministry of Finance. He was leading various projects and the vice president of the big consulting company. He is the member of the ICANN, which I suppose many of you don't know what it stands for, but it is the worldwide organization responsible for managing of DNS records and allocation of IP addresses, which in short, in my opinion, runs the internet as a whole. And he is a CTO of the National Registry of Internet Domains in Serbia. I hope I didn't miss anything important. Okay. Petar, sitting next to me, is from all the other panelists closest to me in the expertise of what he's doing. His saying and his motto, which I really like, is that he says, "I prefer human expert instead of expert in form of human," which has a lot to say about his mindset, which I really like. And his background is defensive security and networking in companies like Telekom Serbia, Air Serbia, Haotiken, Uniquely, Pulsec, Comtrade, and at the moment, company called GreenTube. And the last panelist is my dear friend Branislav Veselinovic. He spent 21 years in the Ministry of the Interior of Republic of Serbia, meaning the Serbian police, in Department for High Technology Crimes, mostly doing the business of forensic of computers and cell phones. He was the chief police inspector in the high technology crimes, mostly for the criminal acts of exploitation of children on the internet and other frauds which are committed online. He also did the internship and training in the FBI and holds some certificates from there. He was the representative of the Republic of Serbia in the OEBS in the non-formal group for cybersecurity for 5 years. And after leaving the Ministry of Interior, he is now in the Unicredit Bank in Serbia on the position of Corporate Security Senior Specialist for Fraud Management and Investigation. And in parallel with that, he is a lecturer at the police academy called Rabdan in the United Emirates and associate in the UN for cybersecurity and combating the human trafficking. I managed to say all of it for all the panelists. So I think this is going to be one great discussion. I would like to start with Petar. He's sitting next to me. And the first question is going to be about data. In your opinion, take an average cybersecurity tool, take an average customer, and what I would like to know is what amount of data are those tools generating on a daily level? Not in a meaning of gigabytes, terabytes, but informations, records.
Hello from my side. Nice to see you all. Regarding the informations that are generated by the tools we use, and I used in my previous career, my professional life, generate a large amount of data. First of all, generate gigabytes, terabytes, whatever it's so, but when you do the contextualization of those informations you get from the logs, basically from the logs, and from the net flows, and for those things you get from the network devices, from the network firewalls, from the endpoint protection. You get a lot of basic stuff, but you need to do contextualization in order to get the information. And when you contextualize that, you get what does that mean for you.
Okay, before contextualization, before that AI ingests it, if you're just looking at the raw data, can you tell us approximately what amount of data any of those tools generate on a daily level? Is it millions, billions?
On a daily level, it depends on how large is the enterprise or any type of subject you're looking at, but I would say billions, it would be around, or even more than that from my experience. But I tend to say that it depends on, you can have, for example, small enterprise, 10, 20 people and 10, 20 endpoints and generate a lot of data and a lot of information. If they do some specific stuff like large files, large data transactions, and those kind of things, large databases, you don't have to you don't need to have a lot of people, a lot of endpoints when you do large transactions in systems and IT generally.
I get it. So, but it's clear that all the cybersecurity tools generally generate a lot of information, and that the AI is probably the perfect tool to process all those information, and as you said, contextualize it and extract what's meaningful from what it's not. So can you maybe tell us which tools in your average work day, or doesn't have to be average work day, but in your line of work you're mostly using, and in which way are those tools helping you in your daily routine?
Of course, before you get to the analyst and the security operations centers, I had experience with that. You need to have a basic stuff regarding the security. You need to secure your perimeter. You need to have a next generation firewall on your perimeter. That is the basic stuff, basically. And when I mean next generation firewall, I mean the firewall that expects the traffic up to the layer 7. So firewall needs to understand which application is used in that traffic, not just ports and IP addresses, etc. In that way, you're going to get the log from that firewall, and that log is going to be more meaningful for you, not just for you, just for your CM, security event information and event management system, or when you do the automation with the other tools, you get to use that information inside of the other contextualization systems. And if you get basic info from those perimeter firewall, endpoint protection, XDR, extended detection and response devices, and network detection and response, as more information you get, the more meaningful output is going to be for you when you get to react upon something.
So what you're basically saying is that all those tools are using some AI to help you make the context out of that data and to extract meaningful data from not meaningful data.
Nowadays, yes. In previous years, when AI wasn't that present, we need to do that by ourselves and to do the contextualization by ourselves, and that is a very exhausting job, because when you're having, for example, incident, in that case you need to do that all by yourself and in a short term of time, and in that case you don't have that time in that situations.
Okay, meaning when we come to we can maybe then conclude that AI is helping you do your work faster, detect the incidents faster and mitigate them faster, because you're not spending a lot of time on manual work, which you used to until a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think that AI is just doing like you just explained, because the main thing for me and for my work is to do it more in a shorter period of time. And for any company, I guess that is the purpose, and to make better performance.
Okay. Zarko, can you maybe tell to the audience just in a couple of short sentences what is the role of the National Registry of Internet Domains? Because I'm not sure that everybody is familiar with what you're doing.
Yeah, National Domain Name Registry is a TLD operator, which means we are maintaining a database of registered domain names under .rs and .serb Cyrillic domain name. And also we are maintaining DNS infrastructure which compose with more than 400 instances around the globe.
Okay. That means that you are hosting your DNS servers for all the domains which are .rs and .serb. Those names, you are responsible for maintaining those records.
We maintain TLD records, which
TLD
means domain name which is registered, authoritative servers for .rs and .serb, domain name which is registered, and name servers connected to that domain name. So how DNS works? There is on top, it is hierarchy, and on top is root servers, and they maintain and they have database with all TLD domain names. We differentiate them as GTLDs, which is ComNet, BIS, and a number of others from 2013, and CCTLDs, which means country code the top-level domains like .rs or .des for Germany or .ca for Canada and similar. Next level is TLD level. That's our authoritative servers, and we maintain a database for that. And each registered domain name has own authoritative servers with other DNS records.
Okay, so approximately how many requests for resolving the DNS records your servers receive on a daily basis?
We calculated that's more than a billion.
More than a billion. Okay, so that means that also a large amount of data on a daily basis. And when it comes to cybersecurity and DNS records, all the cybersecurity tools you were mainly talking about are implemented somewhere at the customer infrastructure. But when it comes to the DNS records, what do you think? What can be prevented if DNS records and the requests for DNS were examined more closely?
Analyzing DNS traffic, we can find many interesting things and different behavior of customers, and also bad actors there. So employing artificial intelligence and machine learning, we can detect fraudulent behavior of registrants. Those who are using domain names for phishing or other fraud, malware distribution, and also botnets and command and control systems.
Okay, you said phishing, malware, command and control, botnet, and that pretty much accounts for the 90%, probably 90 or even more % of all the malicious, all the attacks that are happening.
That's true. Cybersecurity agencies, those are not my words, but they are saying that more than 2/3 of all cyber incidents are involving or are using DNS for making that
So
successful.
if the attack was identified on your end, then it would be stopped in its route somehow because it could not propagate, and that would be the protection which is not in anyhow connected with the infrastructure that the attacked customer has. So the attacked company or individual doesn't actually have to do anything, doesn't have to have any protection on his side.
They need definitely
Okay, they
some
need, but
protection. There is no 100% protection, but we can stop most of fraudulent activities on DNS or using DNS. For example, many people are redirected to phishing sites which look exactly the same like site they are mimicking. And having that information, we can suspend that domain name, and it will not be accessible over the internet.
Okay, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it a little bit later. So, Bane, what are the most common threats or frauds or attacks that you are facing or investigating at the moment in your current position?
Yeah, so
in
nowadays
the banking sector?
I'm not allowed to speak for my previous
Of
life.
course.
So nowadays, since I'm in the bank and my position is such relevant for those type of things, I can say that we need to split those threats or frauds on two different type of clients that we are having in our bank, in every bank. So we are talking about the legal entities, and we need to talk about private individuals. So if we talk about the legal entities and the frauds addressed to them, the first and the biggest one is business email compromise frauds. And if we talk about the private individuals, then we need to say that there is a major issue regarding phishing campaigns, which are actually addressed or oriented just to the private individuals.
Okay, for the phishing, everybody knows what it is and what it works like. But can you just in few sentences tell us what business email compromise means?
Okay. So business email compromise, or how it was used to call, since I was in the police, we managed those type of crimes. And in that days, we called it man in the middle. So it actually works like someone is monitoring communication between two legal entities. Usually they are not from the one country. Usually they are from different countries. And since those companies are trying to negotiate and to deal some business, once you get to the point that you will get some contract or you will get some instruction for the payment. So in that moment of time, our perpetrator is actually looking for emails which are in communication of those two legal entities, those two companies, and he is, or they usually do what they do. They are intercepting those emails, putting some information which are not correct, and those information are always different IBAN and sometimes different country for beneficiary. And in that moment of time, the company who needs to pay the bill, who needs to pay for that contract, usually receives from a very similar email address. They are receiving those instructions, and the instruction which they are paying their bill is referring to in most of the cases, to the private individually individual account in the different
In a different country.
Yeah. So we have actually two scenarios. One is when the beneficiary country is different than the beneficiary's bank's country, and the other one is when those payments are paid for the first time, which we call the non-historical payments.
Okay, so but that email compromise, it doesn't actually have to be the similar email address. They don't have to intercept it. Nowadays, they mostly do it is that somebody's credentials from the issuer of the invoice are compromised, and then somebody is just redirecting and reading all the email. And since he has also the ability to send an email, once it comes to the payment, he's just going to send from a regular email, which is compromised. He's going to send a faked invoice. Okay, so what tools are you using to detect those activities, and what is their efficiency?
So a couple of years ago, we spotted that those frauds are pretty much increasing, and because of that, together with the colleagues from the group, from the bank where I work, we started to develop some internal monitoring software, which is actually, it has three components, but this is not a panel for that. But one very important is monitoring those transactions over the digital channels that we are using according to our group. So we have we open ourselves to our clients, and we are using some others solutions for digital payments. And together with that company, we also developed, it was in 2017, yes, we developed some anti-fraud tool, which is actually have some components of a machine learning within, and it works on several scenarios. Those scenarios are always updated, and we are trying to stop those transactions by scoring them and putting them in some lines for the execution. So according to the score of a specific transaction, those transactions are put to go without stopping. We have something called I don't know how to translate in English, but something like stopped for a specific period of time.
Delayed.
And we have some transactions that we are stopping always if its scoring goes up to one level.
Okay, so if I understood correctly, you have an internally developed tool which has machine learning in it, and it's analyzing the paying transactions behavior of a legal entity over parameters that you decided, and if that payment deviates from that pattern, then you are classifying it and recording according to how it deviated, put it in different scenarios, approving, delaying, or stopping completely. Wow, great.
Okay, so it's not about the legal entity, it's always on the human.
Okay, yeah, I know, I agree.
So we have something like hash of the device, hash of the browser, something like that.
Okay, so it may happen that me and my colleague are actually working in the finance department, and we are working payments, but we have different routine or whatever. So it's going to record my routine and the colleague's routine, and it's going to know actually. Okay, got it. So it's very, yeah, it's tailored to the human actually. Okay, wow, great. So. Wow, so you know how they breathe, how they click, whatever they do, you actually...
I really don't know that.
No, I'm joking. Okay. Petar, can you tell me, in your experience, when it comes to the tools we just mentioned before, to tools that are having AI and they didn't have AI inside of them a couple of years ago, what percentage of the incidents is stopped more than it was stopped without those tools? I mean, do you see the increase in stopping the incidents or decrease in successful incidents when using the tools that have AI in them?
Yeah, definitely there is a difference in the time. As I mentioned, you can do more in a unit of time, so there is you can shorten the time, the shorten time of the resolution of the incident. But I do not like to mention the numbers because the numbers for me is not important. When you solve the incident, you solve it, you feel happy, and after that you do the post-mortem, how we call it, to see what we done right, what we done wrong, and after that we make a conclusions, we make the changes in the procedures, and after that we do the lessons learned, basically.
Okay, so but when you put it like that, I can come to the conclusion that a couple of years ago, most of your time and most of the time of the SOC analysts and the incident response people was actually used for manual and repetitive tasks, and then you had less time to devote yourself to lessons learned and improvements and education, etc. And now that you're using the AI tools which are shortening the investigation, which are doing all the manual work or all the work that can be automated, you have more time for the lessons learned, improvements, and education, meaning that your efficiency is on a much higher level because you're not wasting unnecessary time to do things that can be done by AI.
Yeah, that's totally true. But I want to just mention something. Everything is true what you said, but I want just mention something that is a lot of companies doing in business in cybersecurity are having research and development teams, and those teams also can do a lot more in a unit of time, as I mentioned, because of AI, basically. But most of the things, when someone developing some malware or malicious software or whatever malicious activity you're doing, you basically have to notice it by yourself. Using the AI just make you do it faster. AI is not going to do your job. So basically, the point is, at the end, the conclusion is yours. So
meaning you're not going to allow the AI to make the final decision. You want to be the one making the decision, but the AI is going to give you the context, give you all the necessary information, and provide you with all the necessary inputs for you to make the final decision.
That's true. That's what I mean.
So it's still what you... Okay, it's still, how you said it, human expert instead of expert informed human.
Yeah, that's what I mean, and that's what I practice in my life and every day.
Okay, perfect. Glad to hear it. That's exactly the same. I like to hear those things because that is exactly the same way we are doing things in Nova Defense. And sometimes, sometimes you have to wonder if you're doing everything right or if you maybe are on the wrong path or whatever. But when I hear from the people who I trust and value that they are doing the same things the same way, I'm more confident in what we are actually doing. So, Zarko, when we do the analysis of DNS queries and have the information you just spoke about, what can be malicious, what not, etc., how can we translate that information into something actionable in real time? What is the solution for something like that?
It needs a complex model for that. But to simplify it, what can be done? For example, if domain name is registered yesterday and suddenly they have a huge number of queries in regard of that domain name, it is suspicious. It can be some marketing campaign and a lot of people are looking at that domain name. But in most time, it is some phishing campaign, and a lot of people got a mail with that link, and they're clicking on that, and it should be checked. Of course, we are not going to allow artificial intelligence or some automation to suspend domain name. It needs just to raise awareness that a certain domain name is suspicious, and we should check what's there. And we can go even deeper. If that happens, artificial intelligence can do a screenshot of a website, for example, and look for keywords or pictures on that page, find logo, and compare that with trademarked logos.
So actually, when something suspicious happens, AI can be taught to do the investigation phase and to see if that is actually a legitimate emailing campaign or whatever, or it's some kind of phishing campaign or fraud or whatever, and then give all that information to somebody who is supposed to decide if the domain is going to be suspended or not.
Exactly, and to add just one thing, man in the middle, but DNS can be also responsible for redirecting emails, and there is a number of cases where emails were going to fraudulent server and then redirected to recipient, intended recipient, collecting that messages or adding, changing them and forwarding to intended recipient. So it is very dangerous not having control and checking your DNS data and records all the time.
Okay, but if you, let's say that everything you said is implemented, working, full capacity, perfect, do you have the authority to suspend the domain?
No.
Okay.
No. We can do that under certain circumstances, but in most cases, those domain names are regularly registered by regular domain holders. It can be company or individual, it doesn't matter. And in my experience, most of them are hacked websites of regular.
Meaning that the owner of the domain or the website has no awareness, he doesn't even know that his property is used for malicious.
For phishing or malware distribution or some other fraudulent activities. But when we have fraudulent activity, we cannot do that regularly. We should go to the court or a special prosecutor for high technology.
And it takes time.
It takes time, and we need time. When we have some dangerous activity, we need to act really fast, not week or more.
Or a month later. And in your mind, is there an idea how to solve that issue?
There is one idea, and we'll see how it will go. One idea is to have a Serbian public resolver, which will have fraudulent domain names not only under RS and Serb, but worldwide, all under all TADs. And for users who are using that, it will be filtered, and they wouldn't be able to access fraudulent services.
Wow, that sounds perfect.
Sounds perfect, but it is not easy to build. It is not easy to maintain, and we'll see. We have some steps.
You have some ideas how to come to the end goal. Do you maybe have any knowledge that anywhere in the world something similar is already developed and implemented?
For example, Quad 9 public resolver, which is global, it is used just over 1% of users compared to Google public resolver, which is more than 50%.
But Quad 9 is also...
Quad 9 is four nines.
Yeah, I know, but it's not, as I know, they're not using any machine learning. They're taking lists, static lists, which they're receiving from another providers, etc. So because
that's true, but when I'm talking about public resolver, which we should build, Also, that resolver is not going to use artificial intelligence. We are going to use
Resolver
artificial
not.
intelligence on authoritative servers to detect fraudulent domain names and then put that in filtering list in resolver.
Okay, and in your opinion, is the suspicious, not suspicious, anomalies in DNS requests the only thing that artificial intelligence can look for, or you think there are other things like copyright infringement, similar domain names, or something like that?
Yeah, of course. There are two. We are talking about looking at DNS traffic. Also, we can exploit artificial intelligence on registry, domain registry base, to follow behavior of certain domain holders. If they are fraudulent, we should check all domain names that they are registered under their name. Also, we can check domain name, and if that domain name has some kind of trademark parts or some other. Recently, we had during the COVID, we had a lot of domain names using e-Uprava.
E-government, trying to duplicate them.
E-Uprava on different versions, and we're filtering and disabling a possibility to register domain name with that phrase.
Okay, thanks. Bane, that tool which you said, which is monitoring the behavior of the person on the other end who is making the payments, what are the customer experiences with that tool? Are they happy that they have it? Are they, they must react in some way. It's supposed to stop them from making fraudulent payments.
In the bank, we actually have one part of the bank is called something like the customer experience. So we pay attention to that a lot. And I can tell you that those type of tools are actually doesn't slowing the execution of the payment. So the customer on the other side has no idea what is going on after he click on his mobile phone or his computer. So he has no idea that those tools are doing something, that we have some engines which are going from another part through those through different parts of those channels, and his transaction will be executed in the period of time that it was intended to be executed.
Okay, but do you maybe have, I don't know, recommendations for your great work that somebody's going to say, okay, you stopped me from making a fraudulent payment, thank you, or what is this thing popping up, I want to get rid of it, or...
Yeah, we have actually, we had a lot of different type of communication with our clients, especially with the legal entities, because as I said, those business email compromise frauds are addressed only to them. I can say that according to my experience from the police and nowadays from the bank, we had maybe up to 10 private individuals which was actually the victims of the business email compromise. Most of them are legal entities. But we had some cases when we stopped those payments, and of course they were grateful and thankful, and of course the communication is not just one way. It's not just from the bank to the client. You're always expecting something from the client, you know, because he can tell you that this application, for instance, is something slow. This can be improved on. There are such a different type of expectation from our clients that we usually expect to hear from them. And if we talk about those tools that we are using, we had a couple of times issues because they wanted to execute those transactions. They were telling us that those invoices were legitimate, but we know that they are not.
Meaning that they were completely ignoring everything you said and they were wanting to execute the transaction, although you gave them the information that it's compromised, that the IBAN is changed, that that's not the account which is supposed to receive the funds, and they still want to continue. Get off of my screen, I want to click pay and go on.
They usually said, I need to pay this today.
Okay, great. We know that the other side, or the fraudulent or the malicious actors, are using AI more and more each day, and they don't have any restraints or procedures or policies or laws or whatever on how they're going to use it. So they can develop any tool they want and use the AI in any way they want. On our side, and especially in the sector which is financial sector, which is highly regulated, do you have any restrictions on how are you using AI in order to develop the tools such as the one you described?
Of course, you're right. If we talk about the perpetrators or the people from the other side, we know that in most of the cases, in most of the cyber attacks, they are using some type of artificial intelligence. But if we talk about the other side, the side, for instance, for financial institutions, like you said, this type of a job, of business, is highly regulated. And of course, it is regulated according to some EU, if we talk about the GDPR. And of course, we have some local regulation, local laws, which actually putting some boundaries, putting some issues in order to use the artificial intelligence in a way that we want to use it.
Meaning that you cannot, since you're collecting personal information and you're a data processor, you cannot process that data in order to feed and teach and learn the machine learning algorithm and collect big data, because that's not the purpose of using that data. That's one of the, so you cannot feed it to the ML and AI because, for example, GDPR doesn't allow you.
Yeah, we are talking about some data which are actually considered to be as private, according to the GDPR and, of course, according to the local laws. So we are not able to put some data to feed the artificial intelligence in order to give us some results. And since we have some limitation, like I said, in those tools we are using some machine learning, and machine learning is here, it is on our premises, and it can be used in such a way for, if we talk about those two types of crimes, it should be enough. But if we talk about the future, and if we talk about some possibilities that AI can provide to the cyber criminals, then we might have a problem, because our limitation won't be.
Yeah, actually, you're fighting with one hand tied behind your back, and for the moment you're doing a good job. But what the future will bring, it doesn't look so.
We are not sure how it's gonna be in a couple of years, especially when you have. I don't know, every mobile phone in this room has one type of artificial intelligence application on it.
Okay, thank you. Zarko, the final question. When it comes to AI and stopping cyber incidents, and when you put things to automation, meaning that AI or the tool itself will decide what to allow and what to block, one of the biggest risks is probably the false positives, meaning blocking the traffic or interaction that shouldn't be blocked. Can you give us some examples of such tools which are kind of doing the job but overdoing it?
I am against automation in doing that. If there is any ambiguity in input data, you should not allow the application to make decision. application should just raise awareness and say, this is 99%, 95% fraudulent or dangerous or whatever you're doing, and then you need human to check that and
So
approve.
we are all in agreement that when it comes to cybersecurity, human in the loop must be the final checkpoint, and the final decision maker needs to be human.
Okay, it depends. If you're, for example, receiving 5,000 requests per second from one IP address,
Okay,
you should
understood.
just discard
Okay,
that,
so there are some
IP
thresholds
address, and
which can
that's,
be defined.
Exactly.
Okay,
There
thank
is
you.
no ambiguity in that, but you know, maybe something is going on because the domain name is registered yesterday, and suddenly that domain name is getting, I don't know, 1 million queries. Actually,
It can be
queries.
legitimate.
Yeah, maybe it is regular.
Maybe. Okay, thank you. I think, yeah, our time is up. We're just on time. If there are any questions, we're here to answer them. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3. Let's start from the first row. Try to be quick since we're out of time and we don't want to...
Pozdrav svima, hvala na svim govornicima. Thank you for all the attendees on this panel. My question would be, my name is Bojan, by the way, and yeah, I would like to have a question from two parts. First part would be regarding the, let's say, collaboration between different parties which are here, representatives here, and representatives which are not, for example, mobile provider services, like, I don't know, MTS or something like that. We are all aware of, most of us are probably aware about the SMS phishing or smishing based on the posta, and then the please pay a little bit to get your package and so on. So is there any collaboration between different parties? I know, being aware of GDPR and so on, saying like, okay, we see that lots of our users are getting SMSs from Indonesia or Malaysia with this link, and sending, for example, to you, Zarko, saying, can you please double check on this, what's going on, and somehow block it from our side. And if someone gets phished and then we lost our credit card or I don't know, Visa or MasterCard data, for example, when you lose all the numbers, and those could be lost by just a video camera or something, what is the best way to prevent losing money, other than the one you just mentioned about blocking the potential, like say, wrong transactions? Thanks.
And you are asking who?
I'll answer
two of you,
yeah.
Zarko, and if I'm not wrong, the policeman who's now working in the bank.
Okay, you were talking about SMS. We cannot do anything as National Registry in regard of SMS. That's
collaboration between potential collaboration, where they can say like, RAI figured out, no, this user never got SMS from Indonesia, and now this has a potential link, and many users got this same link.
Yeah, but that the question is actually for the telco operators, not for the registry of internet domains.
Maybe for national cert.
And for national cert as well. There is collaboration between all the interested parties, meaning telco operators, government entities, police, registry of internet domains, and we are exchanging information on a regular basis. And we are also issuing statements to the public saying that something is going on if it cannot be stopped, because it's very difficult to stop SMSs coming from random numbers from abroad. And the second question is...
And especially they're using other applications for
yeah,
communication.
it's not just
and,
SMS,
it's
it's
very
going to be
difficult.
Viber, WhatsApp, or whatever.
I can tell you also some kind of answer on your first question. We had some smishing campaigns, like you just mentioned, and we noticed that the traffic is coming from the all three of our mobile operators. So we have some good communication with them. I didn't say had, because we have it nowadays. And together with the people from those companies, we try to establish some mutual work on stopping that problems. And we also try to provide or to collect as much data as we could for the Ministry of Interior and for the prosecutor office in order to prosecute those perpetrators. And regarding your second question, it depends on the type of the way that you use your credit card or your payment card at all, because it's not the same if you are showing yourself on the ATM. I can tell that my bank has anti-skimmers on all of our ATMs, but a lot of other banks, especially overseas, do not have it. And if we talk about some digital payments, which are done by the using your payment cards, like I don't know,
Temu.
online, Temu, yeah, everything like that. Our bank is using 3D Secure for all of our payments, and something that I can actually will use your data, will not have your real data. It will have something
Want to make the organizer late. Thank you for your time and thank you for your questions.
It's a short coffee break, so we'll be back in 25 minutes.